Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Liliuyai Nishmas, Mordechai back in Chicago for the time being. Bezer Hashem in Eretz Yisrael B'Karev. Rabbi Isai, we're going to say a kapitel Tehillim here, and we'll have in mind those on the front lines, the kidnapped, the captured, the chaylim, the sick, the families that are in tremendous pain. Kapitel Kuf Lamed. Shir Hamalo is mi mamakim grosicho Adonai Adonai Shemo v'kodei Yenos dechagashuvo is likod achanunoi Im avoino is l'shmorio Adonai miyamoi Kimcho aslicho leman tivorei Kivisi Adonai kivso nafshi v'ledvoroi Cholti nafshi l'Adonai Mishimrim laboiker Shimrim laboiker Yachel Yisrael el Adonai Kim Adonai Chesed v'arbei moi fedus v'hu yivdez Yisrael mikol avnusov Acheinu kol beis Yisrael hanesunim b'tzoro v'shivya ha'imdim bein bayom u'bein b'yabasha hamokim yirachim aleim v'yitzim b'tzoro l'rvacha u'me'afei lo li'oiro u'meshibot l'geula hashto b'agalo v'zman koriv v'nimar omein. Of course, Shir sponsored for all those in sorrow, all the chaylim, the front lines, including my nephew Mir Simcha Ben Adina and Baruch Foreman, and Eli Rosen, who worked for me, the Kitzer, and all those that we know, and the Mishpachas and everybody else. Okay, so start with a few emails. It's great to be back in Chicago. Yishkoyach for coming out on short notice. From Yumi Rosenbaum. Hi, Rebelli. Firstly, thanks for the shout out the other day. Just yesterday, somebody sent an email. When was it? The other day. That he's from Australia. People even know about this year. Could you get a Gemara? Yes, I've been giving out and mailing Gemaras all around Australia and New Zealand every month for the past couple years. I think one month we have sent out over 20 Gemaras. A couple hundred in total given out in Australia, Baruch Hashem. By the way, we had our first grandson this week in Chicago. Mazel tov. So if you're in the area, please come past. Hope to fly tonight to Chicago and get to meet you in person. Finally, Yishkoyach, I believe it's in the other Eichenstein on Van Tervich. I believe that's where the Shalom Zachar is. The Rebelli. What a wonderful Shabbos it was. Now, for those of you who haven't been there, it's not the shtach. It's just everybody that was there was on such a high that we want to continue with the high, and we want people to know that they missed something. And Be'ez Hashem, next time we do something like this, everybody should be there. Too much splendid stuff to limit to an email, maybe a future article in Be'ez Hashem. Meantime, 2 items. One is somewhat tongue-in-cheek. The latter is far more serious. Steve, remember Shabbos? Remember Shabbos? It was Kedai. He left his whole family, went by himself. I was just thinking about you today. Did you have a roommate? Like, how did it work? No. You sleep by yourself. But Abbas will finish on Wednesday, December 18th of 2024. So seeing focus on Shabbos will require an early or late finish. Yeah, we noticed that. I think it falls out on a Wednesday or something. It doesn't matter. We can finish the Masech on a Wednesday, start the next Masech, then make a Siyum on Motzei Shabbos. Since yesterday the idea of 3 Bava Siyum was dengo, the staff should be planning ahead of this reality. Today you remark, imagine if all boys learning Gemara would have animation like this. To which I add, imagine if there was a yeshiva which was MDY rooted, animation charts, review of basic concept in the sense of welcoming Yishmak and learning. So yes, I really feel bad. It makes my heart, I don't know what the word is, quiver, whatever. It hurts because my son asked me to make yeshiva. A few people asked, and I would really like to make an MDY style yeshiva, but it requires full-time dedication. You can't just focus all day on shir. And also, by the way, I'm going to do yeshiva. I'm going to do yeshiva. It has to be the best yeshiva possible. It would be a geshmaka place. People, I think Bachram would know Masechtas by heart. They'd have Musagim all Shas. They'll be Lamdanim. We'll teach them Lamdas, teach them how to learn Be'ion, and also have fun on the way. To paraphrase something from popular culture, if you build it, they will come. Anyway, in dreams, realities are born in Mir Hashem. Personally, I'd have preferred the Shabbos afternoon Q&A would have focused on tzibur issues. But yes, the Alen wants to know, it's Rebbe, okay, something to think about. Post Bava. Okay, fine. Boyside brothers, Chilin Zevi Adler from London, learning the Daf, was visiting Zurich overnight for family wedding. Does anybody recognize them? I believe they're there for Shabbos. At least one of them. Oh, this was a private email. He asked me not to read it, so I couldn't help myself. I have to read parts of it without letting the Olam know who it is. You'll see it's a private email, but I thought would give chizuk to some people, to a lot of people, including myself. So I'm reading it. Plus, I want to give him chizuk. It says, I joined the Kiddushin. He's talking about 2 kisses of Hashem that happened to him. I joined the Kiddushin Daf Beis, and now on November 5th was the first siyum I made in many years. There was a little bit more to it. I took it out so that Chas Shalom, his identity shouldn't be disclosed. The second thing is, we learned in yesterday's Daf Yud Aleph, about a woman that had a miscarriage. He gave an example, 3 months and a baby coming out in 2 days. That's exactly what happened to my wife. Here, it's actually just the placenta, but the kiss is the same. I'm writing this email here in the hospital and felt that I have to share this with you. Further, I want to mention that I haven't missed a day since I started, not even in this difficult period. That's amazing. That's why I'm reading this email, because even though he's going through a hard kuf in his life, he's still doing the daf. Same goes with 2M1T, Shnai Mikro Echad Targum, that I started in Bereshis, which I have never done before. Here's a younger man who barely made a siyum in his life, never did Shnai Mikro, and here he is, he's doing Shnai Mikro, even in difficult times. So when we learned the sugya, Shalom Aleichem, thank you for coming. When we learned the sugya, I wanted to talk about a couple of things, but we ran out of time, so I'm just going to mention it for him. This is a Ramosha in Yeridea. Ramosha Feinstein says like this. When Tchias HaMeisim comes, Yichyu HaNefalim Kigdolim Tzadikim. They're going to be great tzadikim. Sheheim Vadei Nikimu Tahoyer Mikol Chet. They're going to be alive, and they're going to be from the greatest because they have 0 chet. Then he goes on and he says, Kihem Lichotu B'Shum Davar. Yilcha Achim Tzadikim. You'll have brothers. He's talking to a brother, I guess. You'll have sons. In your case, you tzaddik, you'll have sons. Shlei Tamu Tam Chet Ma'olam. Okay, that's one nekuda. We go weiter. L'chvoid rebelli shlita. This is the famous Abba Renner. Love this guy. You mess with what's the Shabbos address, and then again in Shir, you brought out the idea that if one learns Torah when it's difficult, all of that person's learning is now worth that high level because he's showing his chashivas HaTorah and how much he's willing to sacrifice for it. Perhaps we can now explain the Gemara in Erev in Daf Nun Daled. Achosh b'roisha yasik b'Torah. So he has a chab. Somebody has a headache, the Gemara says you should learn Torah. So he's like Abba is saying, it's not pshat that if you have a headache and you learn Torah, it's going to go away. It's not Tylenol. He's saying, if you have a headache and you learn Torah anyway, so now you just elevated the thousands of Daf Gemara that you did beforehand, retroactively, they all became Chosh B'Roisha. That's what he's saying. One learns, well, it's difficult, that elevated learning will bring retroactive clarification to the previous learning and will ensure that the future learning, even when it won't be as difficult, will be considered on that high level. Ulai Abba Renner. And the Masech responsive for the unity of Am Yisrael. Parnas HaChodesh, Liliuyai Nishmas, Zechraya Ben Moshe, and Liliuyai Nishmas Bas Yosef. Parnas HaChodesh, Ripur Shleima, Dvora Bas Sarah, the mother of Gershon Ben Moshe. Just thinking that to myself, the unity of Am Yisrael. So there's a certain matzav in Klal Yisrael the other day where many Yidden gathered together, but there's not a representative from the religious, the Orthodox segment. That's what I heard. Ultra Orthodox. Okay. It has to work both ways. It has to go both ways. We have to have achdus in all directions. All those that are involved in all sorts of things. There has to be achdus. Hatzlocha L'zechus Yosef Mayer ben Rochel and Yidden worldwide. Mordechai Sapoznick, Lzaicher Nishmas, his grandmother was just niftar Faigeh Shprintza Horav Yitzchok Sapoznick Aleha Shalom and neshama have an aliyah. Alen Kahen, Yocheved Mina Bat Avraham and Emunah Rivka Bat Ben Yamin Zechariah Rochel. Parnas Hayoim, person forgot to fill it in. Super anonymous. Parnas Hayoim, Dr. Label Hanekman, Zechariah Hanekman, and Peretz Chaim Levin. Liliuyai Nishmas, our father and grandfather. Peretz Chaim, you said you wrote an email. I didn't get it. Yerucham ben Aryeh Kohen Hanekman, whose yard is today, he was a mater asurim for his fellow Yidden in Pesar, how do you say it? Pesarabia? How do you say it? In Siberia, maybe? No, that's not what it says. Besarabia. Amoritz. I don't know what it is. Okay, sorry. Avrumi Dats. Refua Shlema Faivel ben Chaya Halevi. Should have a Refua Shlema. The heart of the month, Yosef ben Chaya Sorrow, for all the schusim that come from supporting Limud HaTorah. Rabbi Isai, I have a shayla for the Olam. There's a famous halach that we learned a number of times, Ein Oinolik Arkais, and that is that, hey, Rabbi Rosen, we had if you sell something for more than a sixth of its market value, so you have to return the money. If it's a little bit more than a sixth, then the mekach is batal. Oh no, you can't charge more than a sixth. What do we say about real estate? Ein oino likarkais, right? That's what I understood my whole life. Ein oino likarkais. Today we're going to see that there's a shittas rishonim that if it comes to a certain amount, there is oino. Huh? What do you think that amount is? Karka. If you charge a certain amount more, so Taisa says double. 100%. Yeah, 100%. All right. So let's see the Gemara now. Not Nugiat Toyna, but we'll get there. Omar. So we're holding like 7 lines from the bottom of Yud Gimel Amud Beis. Omar. Kishihizik Chava Mazik Lahavi Shomichin Vashay. Says in the Mishnah Kishihizik Chava Mazik. So we said yesterday it comes to include an interesting case. And we could anyway, here it is. Here's the list. You have the shomer, people that watch things for free, for money, people that borrow. We're going to talk a lot about the guy that borrows. Also a guy that rents. Says Gemara, what's the case? Now the Gemara understands, listen to this. It's very simple. The chart didn't come out the way I liked it to come out because I saw it very late. I was on a flight today. There's a guy that borrows a bull, but he himself has a bull. Okay? So we're dealing with 2 bulls. The Gemara understands that the 2 bulls that we're dealing with are the borrower and the lender. One of them damaged the other, and the question is, does he pay chatzi nezik, nezik shalem? What's going on here? So Gemara says, Hechidami. And you think about it. If we stop for a second and think about it, there's 2 bulls. I borrowed a bull from you, and I have my own bull. Let's say I need to plow my field, right? In all the pictures, there's 2 bulls plowing a field. And while they're plowing, my bull damaged the bull I borrowed. Chayev or potter? What do you guys say? Why not? Why shouldn't he be chayev? A shayel, a guy that borrows something, is chayev even in oinus, even if whatever, a mistake, chayev. So because my bull damaged this bull, can't be that case. Now, what about the opposite case? What about if the bull that I borrowed damaged my bull? Well, I don't care what they're doing. You're saying it's machmas malacha? No, it's not. That's mesa machmas malacha. While they're plowing, the bull I borrowed turns around to the other bull and gives him a shtach with his horn. Is there a reason why the owner of the bull, the lender, should be chayev? It's your responsibility, right? So those 2 cases don't make so much sense. So that's all the Gemara is saying now. I just thought it would be somewhat complicated because we're talking about 2 bulls in the possession of one guy, the borrower, but one is his and one he borrowed. Okay, fine. So therefore, Yoshi did this. I don't know that it helps so much. I thought it would be a little bit clear. We could have done it a little clearer. Here, Shosha Yisrael. The Shoshel Mashal. It doesn't show that he was responsible on both, but okay, you get the idea. Or the reverse. You have the bull that you borrowed got damaged by your own bull. Okay, so the shaila is, why should anybody be chayiv here besides the shaila? So let's see inside. Echidami. Ilay medaski Torah the mashal Torah the shail. if the bull that you borrowed damaged the bull, your own bull, Mr. Borrower, lemele, ilu azik ba'alma, bois l'shalumi at. If my bull that you borrowed damaged anybody else in the world, you would have to pay. And now that it damaged your own bull, I have to take responsibility. Hello? So let's say maybe it's the other case. This borrower has two bulls. One is his, one he borrowed. The one that's his damaged the one that he borrowed. So what's the shayla? If my bull that I lent you got damaged from anything in the world, you're driving it in the street and another car came and killed it, you have to give me a brand new ox. And just because you yourself did the damage, that's why Palgan is good to Mishamsli. That's why you want to pay half like a tam, half? No way. I'm not going to let you off the hook. You have to pay me the whole thing. So says the Gemara, unbelievable thing here. What happened was that it's a crazy case. It's the same case we're talking about, but the outcome is crazy. The lender's bull damaged the borrower's bull. So the borrower has two bulls. He's trying to plow a field with two bulls. He has one bull. He needed a second one, so he borrowed one. The one that he borrowed damaged his bull, and the owner of that bull, the lender, is going to have to pay all the damages. Why? Makes no sense. Because they made a deal. They made a deal that the borrower is not going to have to pay any damages. All the damages go on the lender. Okay, it's hard to believe. I do you a favor. I lend you my car, and then you turn around, use my car, and then you sue me for damages. Yeah, there's no insurance in those days, and the insurance was from the lender. Look, the only way I could to make it make sense in my mind is that the lender said, "Listen, I have a very tame bull. You have nothing to worry about. Trust me. I wanna do chesed with you." The guy says, "No, but I had bad experiences in the past." No, not my bull. My bull is mamish a mensch. It's mamish never did it, and a second later, it kills his bull. So he goes back and says, "Listen, you lied to me. Pay me." Okay, but still, I don't like these kind of things. Like, it always bothers me. Like, it logically almost doesn't make sense.
Is there a concept that if he borrowed a bull and he found out it was a short mu'ud?
It wasn't. No, if it's a short mu'ud.
You know, but I'm saying you didn't know that at the time. Then for sure
we're talking about a tam over here. That's the whole thing. We're talking about how do you have a chatzi nezek in this kind of case. But either way, I don't think it makes a difference. So it says the Gemara. You mean he fooled him, kind of? I hear. So says the Gemara, we're holding in the last line. The Torah the show. The lender's bull damaged the borrower's bull. He said, the bar said, I am not responsible for any damages. You have to be responsible. Says the Gemara, explain to me the rest. What are you telling me? It's talking about a case where the lender took upon himself the responsibility, not the borrower. It says, if there was a hole made in the fence, or the thieves made the hole, and the bull ran out and caused damage, potter. But it's mashma b'yom chayav. If it was during the day, you should have paid attention, you should have fixed it, you're chayav. Why? It doesn't fit into the seifa. If we're talking about a case where he didn't accept upon himself, the shoyel didn't accept upon himself hezek, then how do you explain the seifa? Says Gemara, you're right. The seifa is not talking about it. It's a different case. You have to understand that that's what we're talking about, a different case. If the shoyel did accept upon himself regular nezakim, like typical chayav, then he's chayav difference of balayla, and therefore if there was a hole made in the fence, okay. Yes, the shoyel accepted upon himself hezek, but not like a anus that's not possible to know about. Melo is potter. Any. Now, don't forget, we had a whole machlokes yesterday between Rav Chizda and Rebbe Lazar. What's the halacha when the ox, the bull, did damage? So like this, we're going to see it again. If a bull does damage in the mazik's rishos, the bull's house. The guy owns a dog, and somebody comes into his property. The dog attacks him. 100% pater according to halacha. That's common sense. That's logic. Unfortunately, sometimes there's midas daim that says no, you have to pay the guy, and you get sued for millions of dollars. I get it. Fine. Like that woman that spilled the coffee on herself, and then she made $2.5 million. Fine. Sometimes some crazy rules and laws, but not in Gemara. Now, if you go into the nizuk, you go into his house with your bull, then of course you chayav 100%. What if they both own it together? What if there's a partnership? They own an apartment building together, and my bull damaged your bull, and we're partners. So we had a machlokes. So says the Gemara, Eini, but we have a problem. If there's a shutfus, that's the case we're talking about. There's a partnership in a hotel. You're chayiv for shen and regel. Now, Rabbi side, let's do chazara over here. What's the difference between shen and regel and keren? Keren is with the horns, anything that's damaged, that's deliberate damage, there's no enjoyment. He goes, he kicks a car, he bites the mirror off, he gores with his horn. There's a nafkamina, a huge nafkamina between that and shen, eating. One nafkamina is that with a keren, there's the concept of tam and muad. The first 3 times by keren, you only pay 50%. The 4th time, you pay the whole bit. By shen, there's no such thing. No tam and muad. Another huge nafkamina, and that's kedai to remember for today, is that keren you're chayev in Rishus Harabim. Shen v'regel you're only chayev in Rishus Hayachid because it says, I don't know if I have the pasuk here. That's right. Ubir is the acher. Here we go. Let's see if we have it here. Oh, kiyaver ish sodo icher v'shilach is biroi uvir is the acher. See, Tamid Chacham are paying attention here. Ubir is the acher. It has to be in a private domain. What's the B'zdei Who's the B'zdei in the Nizik's Rishos? Not like, in Marty Dauber's house. No. If I'm damaging Marty Dauber, then it's in that. But if I'm damaging your shore in Marty Dauber's house, that's not B'zdei B'zdei means in my fellow's field. Okay. Zog the Gemara. So, Chatzar Shutfim. Over here it says, Mefurish in the Brayso, Chayiv B'hem al Hashem al Regel. What is it? What did we learn yesterday? Like 15, 20 lines from the bottom. Okay? So you have to do Rebbe Lazar. So we have a kasha and a contradiction to Rebbe Lazar from a brayso. What? You tell me there's no machlokes in the braysos? What Tanya? Arba klalois hoya Reb Shimon ben Elazar oime ben Izakim. There are 4 rules, and here they are. These are brand new characters for today. Nishlecht. We have a nizik and a mazik, and if you notice, I wasn't told this because Yoshi was already sleeping when I saw this, but these match our bulls. We have a bull that's a mazik and a bull that's a nizik. He was like a tam. He's wearing like a light blue sweater. He's like, and then this mazik guy with the leather jacket was the bull. So in human beings also we have a nizik and a mazik. Okay, you have the guy that was damaged and the guy that damages. Okay, now that you know the characters, now we move on to this. So basically what we have here is 4 cases. If the damage occurred in the nizik's property, then the mazik has to pay 100%. If the damage occurred in the mazik's property, he's pater 100%. He says, what were you doing in my property? You have no business. Not like that guy I brought yesterday that fell through the skylight in a school, and he sued the school for $260,000. He won, and now he gets for the rest of his life $1,500 because he's a ganav and he's trying to steal something off the roof. No, when you come into my rishus, I am 100% pater. Now, what if there's a partnership? You see, in the 3rd case, the nizik and the mazik both own that chatzar. So when it comes to shem v'regel, pater. When it comes to keren, I just chayv keren. What's keren? Negicha, negifa, revitza, beita, neshicha. Then you have the idea of keren, and there's a tam and a muad in the keren. Lo yishal zeh v'lo yishal zeh. It's a chatzar not owned by either or, and we're going to have to describe what that means. So then you are chayiv in shem v'regel, and chayiv in keren negicha. Okay, so we're going to see the whole thing. Let's see. If this is a normal case, my bull goes into your property and damages your property, I'm chayiv bakol. We're gonna have to see what that is. There's a guy had on his property a sign says "Warning, dog." Guy comes in and he opens up the gate, and this little chihuahua starts like size of a rat. It's like, well, so he asked the guy, he said, why are you putting a sign on your door that there's a dog? He calls the dog. He says, you know how many people stepped on him already? If you have a little dog like that, you have what I'm talking about. Okay. The mazik Chicago took them. I hear people laughing now. They started now. Okay, shkoyach. Either he's trying to be nice to me, or he just got the joke. Okay. The mazik. What if the animal that was damaged came into my rishos? Yeah, like dogs, they like to play with each other. So a dog jumps over the fence, comes into my property, into my backyard, and wants to play with my dog. My dog bites him. Potter mikol. He's potter completely. Lazeh. What if they both own it together? Oh, so remember that it says over here abika. Bika, like a valley. Potter bo ala shen vala regel. Over here, you're potter shen regel. Why? Because it says ubir b'zdei acher. It has to be somebody else's, not shutfus. So you potter from shen regel. Ala negicha, vala negifa, vala neshicha, vala revitza, vala beita. Tam mishalam chatzi nezek, mur mishalam nezek shalom. All these things are what? Tolda of Karen. They're really an av, but they're called a tolda because the main thing in the Torah talks about Karen, and then everything else is called a tolda. Now, in case you don't know what these things are, so let me just show you real quickly. The gicha is this. You see the guy with the blue sweater. This is Nagifa. We try to change it, but the guy didn't change it today. It has to be changed slightly. But basically, the last, okay, he shoved him with his body. That's Nagifa. Neshicha, we know what Neshicha is. Neshicha means that he didn't eat it for enjoyment. He's damaging with his teeth. And then Be'ita, this is Be'ita. Again, to damage. Or Revitza. Revitza, he did change the expression, I believe, in his face, because somebody complained that it looks like he was enjoying it. It's more like he did it to be vicious. Because if he did it because he thought he's sitting down and having a good time, then it's not Revitza. Revitza means he's damaging by sitting on something. Okay. Zog the Gemara. Oh. So we know what those things are now. Tam Misham, since it's a total of Karen, basically it's Karen. So Tam Misham Chazinezek, if your time you pay half, Mud Misham Nezek Shalom. So I don't. Oh, we could go back to this one. Where is it? Oh, here we go. If neither of them own it, now, okay, it's there. Because I don't want to go back to the original chart because I have to go through the Negicha Revitz and it's too long. So in the other chart, if you notice, the nice guy, the Nizak, he's on the outside of the fence, on the bottom picture. Both are on the outside. I put him in because we're going to get there where he's supposed to be in there. Okay? To begin with, he's not in there. Both of them don't own it. The chotzer is not owned by either of them. Now it says, you can see on the bottom, the last case, you chayiv for Shem Regel. Anything that has to do with Karen, you pay half if you're a top. So we have a contradiction here in the Brises. Says the Gemara, Kitanya hi b'chotzim yuchedes lezeh ulezeh bein leperis bein leshvar. When both partners could use the chotzer for anything they want, for fruit, for animals, they could bring in the animals, then it's not considered your friend's chotzer. Why? Because you have permission to go in there. Torah says, "Ubir is the acher." You went into your friend's field, but this is not your friend's field. This is also your field. You have complete permission to go in. The Rav Yosef. So we're going to explain the stira. It's not a stira. This is a case where everybody has full rishus to go in with animals, with payroys, whatever you want. So then it's not considered chazir. The Rav Yosef, but Rav Yosef's case, they have a partnership for fruit. They're allowed to put stuff there. It's like this. I thought this was great. I just let me show you. I like this. Certain stores, whatever it is, it says no pets allowed. It says in the small, this includes emotional support animals. Because if you notice, everybody's coming today with a dog on a plane and the emotional support. You just go to any psychologist, emotional support, and you let it go with a big German Shepherd on a plane. So it says no pets allowed. Now it says also, listen, only service animals are permitted. A person who's blind, okay, so you can come in with a dog. What is that? What are you showing me? A dog? He came with a patient on surgery. Dr. Dauber is the head of anesthesiology in Rush. Still at? Okay, not anymore. He retired, semi-retired, learning quite a lot today, or most of the day. So he just showed us a picture in Cheer where a person, here, bring it over here. You got to show it. No, I want to show it. And a guy, he was doing surgery. He still does anesthesia during surgery. And a guy brought a dog into surgery. They don't let people into surgery. Like I try to go now into my surgery. They won't allow it. Here's the dog roaming around between. There has to be like it's not disturbing. It's not distracting. 100-pound dog. There's a lot of Meshuggah things that go on in this world. It's a crazy world we live in. Okay, he could go in, but I'm not an emotional support to my father-in-law. I can't go in. Okay, fine. Wow, I just have to more gesagt. Like if I'm like emotional support for my son, I put on a leash or whatever. I should get a free seat. No, why is the dog better than a human being? He's allowed to come on. He could go. It's not fair. Okay, I want to go into surgery. I'm emotional support for something. Fine. Zoging Gemara. The Gabishen have the chotzer and is okay. So neshama. But chotzer because of the payers, because of shvar. No animals are allowed. Fruit, yes. So the Gemara makes an unbelievable distinction here. The Gabi Shen, when we're talking about Shen eating and fruit, have the chotzer nizuk. Look, the nizuk has ability to have fruit there, so it's chotzer nizuk. But it's not considered your field because you can't bring in your bull. Like Inami, the Ktani Hachadumi, the pundak. So the Gemara says, oh, look, I'll bring you a raya because it says pundak. And one says pundak, one says bika. Pundak means it's an inn, it's a hotel. You don't usually bring animals into a hotel. Although I was in a hotel in South Africa, and there were a lot of animals there. There was zebras, giraffes, mamish. We were eating dinner, my wife and I, and zebras just came over to the table. Yeah, it's such a thing. But most of the time, not. Okay. There's a guy, Maisa Shaya. I'm telling you, Maisa Shaya. A guy was in a hotel, and he went to the front desk when he was checking out. He said, "I want to show you pictures. I have evidence that I had mice in my room. I want a free room." So they gave him a free room, and then they realized that this guy comes with mice. That's his shtick. He comes with his own mice, and he lets them out, snaps a couple pictures, and then he leaves. Okay. Says the Gemara, Shema Mina. Okay, good. It's a good enough Mina. Here's a place where they accept animals. Here's a place that doesn't accept animals. Doesn't do me the bika. What's a bika? A valley. That's where animals go. So here's a place with the animals. Punduk is a hotel. No animals. Maskevler zero. Wait a minute. Since you and I, both the mazik and the nizik, have rishos to put fruit in there, then again we have the same problem of why is it considered your field if I also have permission? You're right, I don't have permission to bring my dog in there. No dogs allowed. But I'm allowed to put my suitcase in there. So if I'm allowed to put my suitcase in there, I'm allowed to put my fruit in there, then it is mine. And if it's mine, then it's not considered that my animal damaged in your field. He damaged in my field as well. Says Abai, no. Since you don't have full permission, you can only put certain things in there. Yes, it's considered somebody else's field. If we just explained, we had a contradiction in two brises, and we said one is talking about a place where you could bring animals in. One is talking about a place you can't bring animals in. So yes, it is machlokes between Reb Chizda and Reb Elazar. They argue on a chatzar of shutfim. Is there shen? No shen. Perhaps say there's no machlokes between Reb Chizda and Reb Elazar. They were also talking about two different cases. One was talking about a case where you could bring animals in. And Memela, it's considered not a bir b'zdei acher because I have reshus to do whatever I want with this field. And one is talking about where I cannot bring animals in. If I can't bring animals in, it's considered bir b'zdei acher. You're right. Maybe that's the pshat. However, if you want to say that this is machlokes, then the machlokes would actually be in a chatzar that has shutfus for peiros, but not for animals. And then the machlokes would be: is that considered, that goof will be the shaila? Is that considered as zdei acher or not? In one case, we're not talking about two cases. A chatzar that you could bring animals in, and a chatzar you can't. We're talking about one case. It's a chatzar that you cannot bring animals in, but you could bring fruit. We have a question: is that enough to be considered zdei acher? Abaya said, yeah, as long as I can't bring everything I feel like bringing in, meaning I can't bring my animals in there, then it's considered somebody else's field. I own it. I'm a partner. But in the contract it says, we made a deal that you're not going to bring, he knows I have vicious dogs, I'm not going to bring dogs in there. Says Abai, if you cannot bring your own dog in there, it's not considered yours. It's considered his. And the other man, the Omar, was going to hold like Reb Zeir. No, you own it. You paid for it, 50%, so it's yours. You can bring fruit, you can bring suitcases, whatever you want. Okay, so you can't bring animals. It's still yours. And if it's still yours, then it's not, there's no chiyuv on Shem V'Regel, because Shem V'Regel has to be b'zdei acher, and this is not b'zdei acher. So that gufa would be the machlokes. Gufa. Says Gemara, Bar Kloi Soyer Reb Shimon. Okay. So going back to the four rules, Arba Klolis, yeah, these are not curses, these are rules. Arba Klolis with a kaf, not a kuf. There's four rules. If it's the nizik's property, you have to pay everything. So it says the Gemara, ala kol loikatani. It doesn't say on everything, all damages. What's all damages? Shen, regel, karen, all damages. Elo chayv bakol. What does bakol mean? Not chetzi nezek, but rather nezek shalom. You have to pay the entire amount. B'kuli nezek. Mani. So now the Gemara introduces us to Rabbi Tarfon. Rabbi Tarfoni. The Omar Mishuna Keren b'chatzer nezek shalom mishalem. Mishuna Keren means tam. It's weird. It's different. These animals are not supposed to damage. And when he does, he's considered a mashuna. But if he does keren, even a tam that's never done damage, but he goes into the Rishus HaNizik, he goes into private domain and he damages, no longer is there a tam and a muad. He has to pay 100%. You hear? Rabbi Tarfon says you have to pay 100% if the keren goes into the nizik's property. Ask the Gemara. Okay, so look what I did over here, real quickly. Took the same chart, but I put the word Reb Tarfon on the top case. We just said, if you go into the nizik's property, you go into the blue sweater property, there's no tam. I don't care if you never did this before. If this is your first time, you must pay 100%. Even though the Torah says the difference between a tam and a mud, that's not in the nizik's rishus. That's in Rishus Harabim. If we meet on Devon Avenue and my bull damages your bull, it's the first time he did it, okay, 50%. But not if he goes into your backyard. Reb Tarfon. What the Gemara is going to ask is, what about case number 4? Case number 4. Case number 4. We're going to be forced to say it's chacham. And that is a huge problem. How do you have in one brisa, part of it is Reb Tarfon, part of it is Chacham? That doesn't make sense. So now it says the word like this. Mani Reb Tarfoni. So then we just established the first one is Reb Tarfon. Neither of them own it. You have a chotzer that's not belong by anybody. You're chayiv on shen and regel. Says Gemara, what does it mean? If you say no, neither the nizik nor the mazik own anything over there, the acher. Like remember I said about Dr. Dauber, I cannot damage your bull in Dr. Dauber's backyard. That's not considered zdei acher. That's considered zdei Dauber. Zdei acher means that the mazik damaged the nizik in the nizik's backyard. That's zdei acher. So if neither of us own it, then you potter on Shem Beregel. You shouldn't be chayiv. Oh, so therefore we're forced to say El Dechad. And that's why, if you look at this, I put the little guy inside the field. In the last case, all the way in the bottom, it's not the two guys outside. The nizik is inside. He owns it. Tani Seifa, what does it say? You see all the way in the bottom, it says Tam 50%, Muad 100%. Who says that? Again, if I go into your field and I damage you, according to Rebbe Tarfon, there's no Tam. It's 100%. Look at the top case. Chayev Bakol. The bottom case argues on Rebbe Tarfon. The bottom case says that if I go into the Nizik's backyard, the top case and the bottom case are identical. It says there is a top. So must be, that's not Rebbe Tarfon, it's Chachamim. So in the same brisa, I'm telling you two cases. One is the Rebbe Tarfon, one is the Chachamim. It's unbelievable. It doesn't make sense. That if you have a tam in the nizik's property, has to pay for half. As the Gemara question, Reisha B'Tarfon say for Rabbanan in yes. Why? The Amr Shmuel Rav Yehuda. But to get to another Mishnah later on, Shmuel told his Talmud, his famous Talmud Rav Yehuda, Shinanoi, sharp one, Shvaig Mas Nisim V'Tavas Roi. Forget what you learned in the Mishnah. Come after me. I'm going to tell you Pshat. Reisha B'Tarfon say for Rabbanan. He already established in a Mishnah that the Reisha goes according to Tarfon, the same goes like Rabbanan. So Mela, we can say the same thing in our brisa. In other words, what the brisa is doing is just telling you really that there's a machlokes in that one case. It's a funny way of saying that there's a machlokes, but that's how the brisa did it. Fine. Ravina Mishmei the Rav Amar no. Kula Rebbe Tarfoni. Okay, so in the chart. Both the top case and the bottom case are Rebbe Tarfon. What does it mean? I did this chart later on. I took what Yoshi did and I just tried to maneuver a little bit, so it's not perfect. It's not nice. He would have done it much better. But basically, means that only one of them could bring fruit into that chotzer. He would have shown it with a basket of fruit or something. But both of them, that's why I put both of them inside, both of them could bring their oxes in, but only one of them could bring fruit in. When we're viewing Shen, it's considered, since he has the ability to bring his fruit in there, so my mazik's ox, that bull that does damage, he's in the Chotzer and Nizik. Since both of us could be in there for bulls, then it's considered Rishus Rabbim when it comes to Karen. What's the halacha by Karen? Even according to Reb Tarfon, there's a tam and a muad. Reb Tarfon only says in the Chotzer HaNizik there's no tam, but in Rishus Rabbim, two bulls meet each other and they damage each other, then there's a tam and a muad. As the Gemara, beautiful question. If you tell me there's a machlokes between Reb Tarfon and Chachamim, so we have four cases. Top cases to Reb Tarfon, bottom cases Chachamim, and the two middle cases say something else. But now that you're telling me that it's one, there's no machlokes. So what are you telling me? Telling me there's a case where they're shutfim in one thing, and in one thing they're not shutfim. Okay, one thing in Peiros, it's for the Nizik only. Take a look at case number 1 on the top. Nizik, the Nizik owns it. So we don't need a special case for that. I know that if the Nizik owns it, what's the halacha? You pay 100%. The other case, within the same case, they're both allowed to bring the shvarim in. So that means they're 100% partners. 100% partners, that's case number 3. So case number 3 tells me that if they're both partners, you potter for Shem Regel, you chayev for Karen, you pay Tam 50%, Mud 100%. In other words, the Gemara is asking, from case number 1 and case number 3, I figured out your case number 4. I don't need a case number 4. Case number 4 is a combination of 1 and 3. For fruit, it's only the nizik. For bulls, it's both the nizik and the mazik. Okay, so that's case 1 and 3. Why do I need case number 4? Says Gemara, Rabbi Nachman, Shloisha, you're right. Shloisha, klolois, barba, mikoimos. You're right. Okay, it's really 3 rules. I could have figured out number 4. I just told you another case that if I combine the 2 things, great. Okay, I just happened to see a story today that doesn't have a lot to do with this, but when I was reading this, okay, each person has their makom in their place. So I thought I'll share a quick story with the Olam. But I forgot the person. I should have written down his name. There was a bacher who came from Europe during the war, and when he got off the boat, they said, "Okay, wait over here, and the bus is coming." Everybody's waiting for a bus to take them to the kibbutz. So he decided to go daven mincha real quick. So he went daven mincha and he learned a little bit. He comes back, he missed the bus. Literally missed the bus. So he didn't know what to do. So he met this older gentleman, and the guy told him, I think it was a chayva. The guy said, "What are you so bizarre?" I said, "I missed the bus." He says, "Where are we supposed to go?" He says, "I was supposed to go to Shomer Tzeir." So the guy said, "Let me tell you. You go to Shomer Tzeir, 95% of the people that will go there, they go off the derech. They were very into like simulating different people." He says, "Come with me." And he became some big guy, and I forgot his name. Point is that everybody has a place. Everybody has a thing. This guy decided to do what was right for him at the time. He sees people waiting for the bus. He try to sneak a mincha. Because he snuck a mincha, and he was saved from being a shomer tzir. I just thought about it here with each person has a place. My makom, it's your makom. Okay, fine. Zog the Gemara. This Mishnah is very interesting. It's a complete riddle from beginning to end. There's not a one word in this Mishnah that you can understand on your own without the Gemara. And in fact, Rashi says straight out, Kula masnisim efarish beGemara. There's nothing you're going to understand on your own without a Gemara. Says the Gemara, Shum kesef. When you praise money, Shava kesef, the value money, Bifnei Bezdin, in front of Bezdin. Val Piedim. Is this connected to the next thing? I don't know. It's with Edim. B'nei Chayrin. They can't be slaves. B'nei Bris. They have to be part of Yiddishkeit, Jewish. V'hanoshim b'chlal nezek. And the women, they cause a lot of damage. No, I'm just kidding. V'hanoshim b'chlal nezek. And they are also in this nezek. V'hanizik v'hamazik v'shlumim. Okay, I don't know what's flying. Says the Gemara, "My shum kesef." What does it mean? Omer Rav Yehuda shum zeh lo yeh lo b'kesef. If you do an appraisal on damage, it has to be, you have to do pluses and minuses. You have to figure out what the damage is. Like what? For instance, if a cow damaged a coat, and then, so Taisa says right here on the top, that according to Rashi, he says, we're talking about one case. First, the cow damaged the coat, and then the coat got back at the cow, and it tripped up the cow, and the cow broke its leg. So I would think, it's like similar, like in school. It happened to me 1,000 times. The principal would say, you pinched him, and he punched you in the face. You're both chayiv. You shouldn't have raised your hand. You're both suspended, whatever it is. You both, principal, I didn't do it. He punched you in the face. All I did is I went like, no, you both. So here also, I think, look, the cow damaged the coat. He caused $10 damage. The coat tripped up the cow, caused him $100 damage. You have to go to the vet, and you have to cast the whole thing. So I think, you know what? You're both guilty. You both start up with each other. Go home. No. Says the Mishnah, Shum Kesef. You have to evaluate. There's $100 damage here, $10 damage there. There's a $90 difference. You have to pay him $90. Okay. You think it's pashut, but for whatever reason, maybe there would be a svara to say, since they're both guilty in a way, like my principal said, then it doesn't matter. You shouldn't have retaliated, whatever it is, but at the end of the day, you do have to pay the difference. And so some Rishonim want to learn it's two separate cases. It's impossible to be one case because one has to be in Rosh Hashanah, in Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, fine. The bottom line is, let's see how much damage the difference is, and that's what you have to pay. Shavak Kesef. What does the Mishnah mean by Shavak Kesef? Shavak Kesef melamed shein bezdin is kokim Alen and chazim sheyesh lehem achrayos. Bezdin are not going to go after a mazik unless he has real estate. They're not going to go after movable objects. But what if the nizuk went and grabbed first some movable objects? He grabbed his car. Bezdin goyim loyman. Bezdin say it's okay. Omar. We just learned Shavak Kesef melamed shein bezdin is kokim chazim sheyesh lehem achrayos. Bezdin only gets involved if the guy has real estate. My mashma. Where do you see in the words Shavak Kesef that it means real estate? Omar Rabbi Barulo, Dover has Shavak Kol Kesef. Something that's worth all the money in the world. What's worth all the money in the world? Real estate. Sometimes people pay crazy numbers on real estate. We don't understand it. It's something to do. My new Dover she'ein lo yirno. By the way, when I told the Doylem the story, I don't know, it's not enough time to get into it, but I once got lucky and I bought a property from somebody who's not a maven at all in real estate. And Lzaicher, if he was a ben bris, then I would be over this halacha. And I wasn't chapping. I'm always looking at, I know, it's like when I buy something, you shouldn't cheat for me. But when I pay for something, I'm also over and I know. If I buy a car from you and you're charging me a sixth less, that's also I know. So when that guy charged me $16,000 a unit in Decatur, Illinois, and because he told me because it only makes sense, I understand. He told me I understand that real estate goes down in value, and I bought it for 20, so I understand that right now it's not worth anything more than 16. So I hopped it and I ran. I still own that property, so that's I know. I even know when America bought from Alaska in 18 for the entire Alaska, how much? For $7.2 million, which is not that much money. It was, in our day, it's $150 million. The entire Alaska, $150 million from Russia. That's how you know. They can come back and say they want a refund. Okay. There's an interesting Shiloh. Listen to the Shiloh. I just saw it. If a guy, I'll tell you a story with me first, and I'll tell you the Ma'aseh Shaya. We're running out of time, of course. I'll say real quick. I was looking at a property. I forgot exactly where. It was like in Ohio, I think, somewhere, years ago. This is like 15 years ago. And a beautiful brick exterior, the whole thing. And you're not allowed to ask, in real estate, I'll say, what kind of people, what this. I walk in there, it's all high-end students, like mamish, unbelievable. They're walking around and they're schmoozing, and I schmooze with them. They all go to universities and real, like you could tell, quality tenants. Fine. So of course it was a great deal. I made an offer and everything, and then I did the walkthrough. Just a few days before we were going to close, and all the people that I saw, I didn't see a single one of those people. It was all one of the most disgusting properties I've ever toured in my life. There was many apartments that had dog feces all over the apartment, and it was just a completely different whatever. I'm not going to go into it. You got to be careful what you say and what you don't say. But I realized, and I've never seen this before or after, I'm pretty sure that this is what happened. That the guy hired 2 busloads of college students to walk around the property as if they lived there. I'm pretty sure. I didn't see a single one of those people when I went and I walked every single unit. Ma'aseh Shaya, that's a true story. Ma'aseh Shaya that I just read, a guy was selling his restaurant. And the guy that bought the restaurant saw it's packed, jam-packed, and everybody, every time he comes there, And he bought the restaurant. And then he realized that the guy pulled his leg. Every time he knew he was coming, he gave free food to 20 people. And he just sit down and make a matzav. And then when he bought it, there's not a single customer. Nobody's coming in there. And they paskin that he has to give back every dime. That's oina. It's not a mekachtos, it's whatever. Okay, in Behilchas oina, I think it was. Alko panim, zog the Gemara. You know it's cheating. Fine. Amar dova shov kesef. As the Gemara, avodim shtar is not mean no. If you're telling me that real estate, this is talking about real estate. Why? Shov kesef means real estate because real estate is no enough. Avodim shtar is also no. So this is what Taisus says, by the way, that real estate does have enough. Not everybody agrees with Taisus, but over here Taisus says that real estate has enough if you pay double, which I for sure paid less than half of the value when I paid 16,000 per unit. That would be enough. Avodim shtar is nami ein enough. Something that you buy with money. What do you buy with money? Karka. Why? What about movable objects? Movable objects we do not buy with kesef. What do we buy movable objects with? Meshicha, Gba, Mesira, Chalipin, right? We had all these things. But not kesef. As a Gemara, what do you gain? Avodim shtaros, not meaning kesef. Maybe it means avodim shtaros. Elo Rav Ashi, shova kesef, eloi kesef. V'anekulu kesef ninu. Says Rav Ashi. Shova kesef. All these things, movable objects, are considered money. I could go here, I could bring it here, but property is not considered money. Property I can't bring anywhere. I'm stuck with it right over here. And memela, it means real estate. So ask Rav Yehuda. We just learned that Bezdin won't deal with the mazik unless there's real estate. Vatanya, that should be everybody's question. We learned about brand. How many times did you learn about brand? You could pay back even with brand, the worst of the worst. So certainly it doesn't have to be real estate. When you have orphans, the only thing that you could grab from them is real estate. As the Gemara biyasme, how could it be Yisoimim? What about the next part? If the Nizik went to the Yisoimim, or not, it doesn't say Yisoimim, but you're telling me it's talking about Yisoimim, so what's the pshat that the Nizik could go and grab metaltalin? Bezin goyim loy, ma'am. Bezin will say it's fine. You grab metaltalin, grab. But the problem is, if you ask me, am I Bezin goyim loy, ma'am? You can never grab metaltalin. So I don't know. I don't remember anywhere else in Shas that Rashi explains the way he explains over here. It says a bunch of times that you cannot grab metaltalin from a yasam, only karka. But over here Rashi says, because you never know when the yasam bought it. Maybe the yasam bought it after his father died. How do you know? So just like Rava says in the Rachman, that he grabbed it when the father was still alive. This metaltalin that we're talking about is stuff that he grabbed when he was alive. Next, b'fnei bezdin. So it says the Gemara, you know, like a lot of times people get into trouble with the law, whatever. They put all their belongings on their wife's name. I don't know. Me, I'm a one a year. What is it? I have $1 in my name. This guy, he sells everything and then he goes to Bezdin. That's the Gemara could that be? Let's say I borrow something, and then I sell it, and then you come to collect the money. I say I don't have any. Ain't Bezdin going? It doesn't make any sense. We know it's not like that. We know that Bezdin could go after the sale. So what if you sold it? There's a chreis. I'll go after that whatever you sold. Ella prat lebezdin adyotos. Boys, I have a bezdin adyotos here. Oh, here we go. You ready? Oh, I ruined it. Okay, the bottom line is, here we go. Let's do it again, slowly. Reb Nachman, Eli, and Yossi. These are adyotos. Why? Why are they adyotos? Guess what? Reb Chaim Kaniesir, Reb Yashiv, Reb Shteiman, and the Satmar Rebbe, they're also adyotos. You know why? Because we don't have smuchim today. Nobody has smicha. I should have brought my smicha. I actually have a real smicha from Beis Yisrael, but it's nothing. Smicha means from Moshe Rabbeinu to Yeshua ben Nun, all dares all the way, and then it stopped. At a certain point, there's no smicha, so we're not musmach. So Mela, it comes to exclude, B'fnei Bezin comes to exclude a Bezin of people that don't have real smicha. Al pi edim. I know we have to stop, or it's already an hour, but we got to do this. It's easy. This is very, very easy. Al pi edim. What does the Mishnah say? It has to be on edim. Prat lemoide b'knas v'akach bo edim shu patur. That if a guy, we know the concept. If somebody admits to a penalty, to a knas, moide b'knas patur. So what happens? Very interesting. He admitted on a knas. He's admitted that he's ma'anas a woman. He doesn't have to pay the penalty. And then Adam came and they testified that he did something wrong. Shu patur. Says the Gemara, that's great according to the Manda Omar, which is Rav. I saw Rav Tzvi from Zidichov, the Zidichov Rebbe, Rav Tzvi says that according to Rav, so that's why we say it's a Chassidish word. V'salachta lavinenu ki Ravhu. You should be moichel my averos because of Rav. Rav says moed b'knas potter, so I already admitted I did tshuva. So Mela, according to Rav, moed b'knas potter. Fine. Ki Ravhu. Now it's going to ruin it. Every time I say it, it's going to ruin my tefillah. Ki Ravhu. The Allah is like Rav. Okay. According to Shmuel, how could this fit in? How can you say Al Pi Edim means moed b'knas and then Edim came? Says you're right. Say if it's top of Tezvah Medal. B'nei choyer b'nei bris. That the Edim, what does Al Pi Edim mean? It's a continuation. Al Pi Edim b'nei choyer b'nei bris. That the Edim must be free. They can't be slaves. U'b'nei bris, they have to be Yidden. B'nei choyer lemudei avadim. B'nei bris lemudei nachrim. U'tzricha. Why do I need both? Yashmin and Eved mishum dein yachas. Chayis, yachas. A slave doesn't, right? A ger doesn't have anything to do with his whatever's before him. It's a nuk. Eved doesn't have yichus. Aval nachri deshli yichus. It's nafkimina. Kibud aveim, not kibud aveim. A guy does, Eved not. Emaloi. Maybe a guy could be an aid for a mazik. And if I say a guy not because a guy doesn't have any mitzvahs, I would think that a slave could testify for a mazik and a nizak. Have a wonderful day.